It is about time. Week 1 NFL season is here. I'm your host, Drew. My other host right over there.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. Before we dig into the sweet NFL kickoff, let's go ahead and be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think we just talk biggest matchups, best headlines of the week 1. I'm going to go ahead and start us off. Aaron Rodgers coming back versus the 49ers, Monday Night Football. Of course, that's the game we're most hyped for. Is this the biggest matchup of the week, or, you know, how we feeling about week 1 right now, 49ers?
I mean, I think everyone feels like their team is the biggest matchup. You know what I mean? But for me, it's either this game or it is the Rams going to Detroit again. I think that is going to be a highly anticipated matchup, but I am so hyped for this. Did you know that Aaron Rodgers is from Northern California? Did you know that Aaron Rodgers went to Cal? Did you know that Aaron Rodgers wanted to be drafted by the San Francisco 49ers?
Yeah,
Nah,
and he they went with some guy, Alex Smith.
yeah, but I mean, realistically, this is it's a great matchup on paper. So on paper before, like, let's talk about the New York Jets last year, paper champions they won the offseason. Uh, if they have the if this team can live up to the caliber of what they have on paper, it is a very interesting football team. It's going to be, I think a lot of people are really hesitant to really go all in like they were last year and be like, dang, the Jets are going to be amazing. Let's put a future on the Jets. But I think they're going to be pretty, if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy and this defense and the defense can play up to level and the offensive line can keep Aaron Rodgers upright, they're going to be a good team. The only thing with that is this offensive line hasn't been good. The defense has had to carry the majority of it. Is that going to continue out throughout this year? Is Aaron Rodgers going to continue to show like, hey, I love New York, or is he going to have some of his old Green Bay tendencies? So, like, that's interesting throughout the rest of the season to monitor.
Yeah, and I mean, give it to the Jets. They were a team without a quarterback last year. Won some games, they were in a lot of games. So if you just take that same defensive ability and hopefully all goes their way this year, and then you add in Aaron Rodgers, who we'll see if he's the same guy he was now that he's coming off the Achilles. I mean, they should hypothetically be one of the best teams in the league. But I mean, it's all said. Look at Florida State right now. You know, it's all fun and games until you actually go play the games. So they need to go out there and prove it. I know Garrett Wilson's gonna have a great year. Sauce Garner, a lot of those other guys on the defense, but can they
Brees
put wins
Hall.
together? Yeah. Brees Hall. The 49ers, on the other hand, bring back basically almost their whole team. And then Ufunga comes back off injury. And I saw someone tweeted, can't remember who, but they were like, basically, all the pieces that the 49ers lost, they replaced with something a little bit better. So they didn't go out and get like superstar players. They got a lot of role player guys, and they got some linemen who are a little bit better than what we lost last season. So I think this team is going to be still one of the best teams in the league, and the defense is not going to have a fall off. I think they're going to get better than they were last year. They started to kind of put it together, that D line at the end of last season, but now we got Leonard Floyd. We got Gross Matos, who I think is underrated player. We got a lot of pieces that I think fit into the roles that we want them to fit into perfectly.
Yeah, and new defensive coordinator steps in. Steve Wilks, one and done as the defensive coordinator. We've seen that they butted heads, him and Kyle Shanahan, and realistically, it was more of Steve Wilks and the defensive players kind of butting heads and saying like, "Hey, I like to be coached this way." Nick Swarenson's going to step into there, and hopefully he's connecting a little bit more than Steve Wilks did at the beginning of the season, so they get off to a hotter start defensively. I think that's going to happen. I think we're looking at, the biggest thing for Brock Purdy is that he was healthy this offseason. And that's one of those things that they say from year one to year two for quarterbacks, that's huge is that offseason. Well, Brock Purdy was robbed of that last season, rehabbing that injury. So coming into this season, I'm expecting him to not only get better, but get exponentially better. I think that we are going to see, I mean, realistically, what Brock stepped in and did ever since he's been a starter with the San Francisco 49er team has been nothing short of special. I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If the 49ers win the Super Bowl this year with Brock Purdy, I know a lot of people like to say now Patrick Mahomes has had the best start to a career ever for a quarterback. But if Brock Purdy wins the Super Bowl here, you got to start looking. This guy's gone to NFC Championship, Super Bowl, and then won a Super Bowl. Like that's pretty good start to a career too. So I'm not trying to count the chickens before they hatch here, but it, I'm feeling good about the Niners this year. We're gonna kick off the season with the champs from last year, Kansas City Chiefs versus the Ravens. Actually, I'm picking the Ravens in this game. Call me crazy, but I think they're gonna come in with a chip on their shoulder, and I just don't know how well this Chief offense is gonna click first week. Because the wide receiver room for them, it's kind of a toss up, kind of a weird mishmash of guys, and a lot of weird situations with Hollywood Brown injury and Rasheed Rice, of course. So, how are we feeling about that matchup to open the season?
Yeah, man, I think I also have to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I think that realistically, we've seen the formula for the Kansas City Chiefs. It is stay alive through the first half of the season. Don't overdo things. Let's try to get healthy. And then we will progress and get better and find out which weapon. Basically, the first half of the season for the Kansas City Chiefs is tryouts. That is their training camp. They are going to continue to work and mismatch and figure out what's going to work. If not, they'll trade for somebody. If not, they're going to, okay, well, we're going to rely heavily on Travis because we haven't used him on this first half of the season. We're going to rely on Isaiah Pacheco to make sure that we get to where we need. And that's where we've seen last year in the opener, Detroit was able to capitalize. I think we've seen a couple of other teams either wound or get a win against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this is a really good opportunity for the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson to step up and be like, I'm a marquee quarterback. Everyone says, I mean, who do you know which commentator it was that was disrespecting him and was like, oh, Lamar Jack. Oh, it was Julian Edelman was like, "Oh, Lamar Jackson's on a milk carton in the playoffs. I think he's gonna show up for this game, and I think he hears all the noise around him."
Yeah, and every game is going to be important for the Ravens this year, so you got to get this one early. The Browns, I mean, beside quarterback play, that team's going to be good. Um, the Steelers, we'll see. The Bengals should be back. So you really just want to assert your dominance early in this division. No matter what, every division game is going to be a dogfight for you. So this is a game that Lamar should want to win, uh, just for the fact of putting on his pedestal. Like, look, I beat Mahomes. I beat the best one. I'm actually one of the best ones, maybe even the best. And so I think they need to win this game just to put the statement out there like, okay, we can win a championship, guys. Maybe to themselves
Yeah,
because it's been a weird situation in playoffs for them. Yeah, the Chiefs every year you start to look at them like, okay, is the talent of Mahomes going to carry them through? Does this team have enough? And every year they do. But with Kelsey getting older, I think they're going to really limit him. He looked so broken down towards the end of the regular season last year, and then playoffs just took off. But even then, he didn't look like he had the same speed. I think they're really going to limit him throughout the year. Pacheco's going to carry a lot of the load. Can the receivers? I know they cut Kadarius Toney, but can those receivers just do enough with Mahomes? I think they will, but not in week one. So moving on to the next game, we have. Do you want to talk a little Packers Eagles? I mean, I'm not big on the. Everyone is saying the Packers are slam dunk division champ, 10-win team. I'm hearing. I'm not that big on the Packers.
I think they paid a guy that played 8 games, and the last time we seen him, he shit down his leg against the 49ers. So I'm not too high on the Packers. I think they're going to be solid, but I don't think that they've got the next Aaron Rodgers. I think that they've got a guy who showed flashes, but I think we've seen it. We've seen the same song and dance before, where a guy pops off, they pay him, they're like, oh, okay, this is our guy moving forward, and it just doesn't happen for him. You know what I mean? You could have a couple of games where it looks good, and then the next year when people are really, batten down and make sure, like, okay, well, we know his abilities now. Let's go ahead and game plan for it. We have a bunch of tape on you. Can you provide consistency? We'll see with Jordan Love, but I'm not gonna pronounce them the NFC North champions.
Yeah, I think he should have got a more team friendly contract for the amount of time he's put in as the starter. I know he sat for a lot of years for them, but to say, yeah, after playing great for half a season, but then we haven't really seen much other than that, we're going to give you the most money out of everyone is kind of ridiculous, but we'll see. I mean, they added Jacobs at running back. They still got AJ Dillon back there who's kind of banged up. The receivers, I mean, we'll see. They were a good young group last year, but can someone on that team break out and be a star receiver? It's going to be tough. And this Eagles team has a lot to prove too, because what are they? Are they a contender, or are they the team we saw fall apart at the end of last season?
I don't know, and they lost a lot this offseason. They gained Saquon, which is nice, but their defense has just been it's just gone now. You know what I mean? They trade Hassan Reddick to the Jets, who then didn't sign a deal and now wants to be traded from the Jets, which is a nice thing for the 49ers because I don't think he's playing this week. So I think this is either team can make a really big statement with this and set the tone for the rest of your season, or both teams could play an ugly rock fight because this is an international game, because it's like, okay, this is unfamiliar territory for both of us. We're playing on a Friday. This sets our clock back a little bit different. I think you can, if you win like big, you can take a lot from that. If you lose ugly or if it's a rock fight, I think you just chalk it up and you're like, okay, well, that's a weird week one. And our season really starts next week.
But yeah, the Eagles have so much star power. I think they should just win this game. They need to win this game because you don't have Darius Slay, all the receivers you have, still the D lineman, other than Kelsey, your offensive line, and Saquon Barkley, and not win this game. So they just got to go out there and prove that they're not the team that fell apart. Another game I want to talk about that's not going to be kind of these marquee teams, but everyone's going to be watching the Titans and Bears. And I know we're going to talk Caleb Williams, but what I kind of want to talk about is Mr. Mayo himself, Will Levis. I'm not going to lie, he showed some flashes last year. I didn't like him, coming into the draft, but when I saw him play, he actually has a cannon for an arm. He can throw a deep ball. I'm expecting some good stuff from Will Levis this year. How are we feeling about Titans and Will Levis?
I couldn't tell you that the Titans have weapons. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know they have DeAndre Hopkins, but I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to be out for a few weeks. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that they are going to be down one of their star weapons, like one of their big weapons for week one. I don't know how they're thinking that they are going to fill the void that Derrick Henry is leaving in Tennessee. They have Tajay Spears, but we've seen what happens when a number two steps into the role of number one with Tony Pollard last year with the Dallas Cowboys, or a few years ago with the Dallas Cowboys, and it just doesn't work. You know what I mean? You need a lead back. You need a true number one. And without that, I feel like that's going to be a huge hindrance to Will Levis's game, because Will Levis is ultra athletic. He can play off the run. You want to have that run game established so you can do that play action and then show off that arm. So I don't know how good they're going to be realistically. On the other side, we've been hearing nonstop how good Caleb Williams is. and we've seen what he can do on the off script plays when everything falls behind and everything's shattering and the world's crumbling behind him. He steps out of the pocket and he can make these amazing throws. But can he do the simple things and make sure that he is not just delivering the ball, but delivering the ball on time, making the correct reads, becoming an NFL quarterback? Because we've seen him do these amazing things off script. Can he just do what the play is asked? We'll see. I think that if he can do that, we're going to see an amazing quarterback. We have an amazing talent.
Yeah, he just needs to not make a lot of mistakes. I think that's his key this season. Don't throw 20 picks. Just do what you need to do to win the game and get out. I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit of the Colorado effect, where Caleb Williams and the Bears start to feel like, oh, we're good. Like we can throw for 400 yards this game. Let's just air it out. Let's try to win by 50 points this week. When in reality, like guys, let's run the ball. Let's check it down. Let's get out of here with a win. And if we have to do it ugly, we have to do it ugly. Though defense started to look better at the end of last year, so we need to try to carry that into this season. Caleb Williams, I don't want them to try to put too much on his plate right away. The flashes are going to come.
But also, they did load up on offense. They got Rome. They went out and got Keenan Allen. They had DJ Moore already. They've got some weapons there. And so if they did want to be like, fuck it, let's air it out.
Yeah, but
Who's to
that
blame them?
doesn't mean
Who's to blame them?
that doesn't mean oh, let's get in a shootout. Let's try to win this game 42-49. Like that's not really what this team was last year, and it's not what Eberflus
Yeah,
is
because
as
they
a
didn't
coach.
have a quarterback last year.
Yeah, because Eberflus is a defensive coach, and he's going to be so out of his element
Yeah,
trying
but
to win these shootouts.
they brought in was it Seattle's offensive coordinator? So they brought in a new OC. He has been like, okay, I am just gonna handle the defense. That is it. And so you got these weapons, you got a Ferrari in the garage. You gotta let him out every once in a while. You just gotta let him rev the engine and go.
Yeah, but that's kind of what they wanted to do at USC, and mistakes were there.
True,
The mistakes
true.
pile up. The mistakes pile up, and then that's how you lose games, especially in the NFL. It's one thing at USC when you're like, we don't have as much talent as these other guys. We're gonna let the Ferrari out. We're gonna just let him do his thing, and if he loses, fuck it, he loses because we're gonna lose anyway. When you're in the NFL, you could win any game. You could be a bad team and still win against a good team because the level of competition is just so close. But when you make mistakes, it's almost impossible to win that way. So I think it's just going to be a test of time. Like during the season, is he going to be interception prone? Is he going to fumble the ball when he's, running around Johnny Manziel style? Like, what is he going to be when the play breaks down?
I think we've seen that he's good when the play breaks down. I think what he needs to prove is
In
that
the
he can
preseason?
live in the parameters of the offense. I think that's going to be the biggest test for him.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's going to be plenty to talk about
Because
with him
at
all year.
USC, his biggest problem was that he held onto the ball way too long. He was always trying to make a home run play. That's what got him a lot of sacks, and he didn't want he's almost like a I hate to be like this, a better version of what happens with Shador Sanders at Colorado sometimes, where Shador holds onto the ball, and he's like almost afraid to throw an incompletion that he's like, fuck it, I'll just take the sack. But Caleb will actually get the ball out of his hands, but he does hold on to it a little bit too long. In the NFL, that clock is going to be way reduced.
We'll see. We'll see. I think it's going to be a good game regardless because I think this time to me this time seems a little slept on. I know they don't have as much talent as some of these other teams, but I just feel like there's something there with this Will Levis guy and what they're doing. I have a little faith in them. They might be my dark horse AFC team here for that division. But any other game this week that stands out?
I mean, if we're talking rookie quarterbacks, we have to talk Jaden Daniels. This guy has been the talk of preseason. I don't know if you feel the hype. I feel the hype of Jaden Daniels. They are saying that he is going to be a guy with the Washington Commanders. They are going to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. I think this game has I think what's the slate on that game? It is the 1:25 game on Fox. I feel like that has a chance to be like one that you just kind of flip on and you're watching passively, and it's like high scoring.
I think Jaden Daniels is gonna be a guy for a few weeks until he gets hurt, and then and then it's over, and then it's gonna be, oh well, next season when he's healthy, he's gonna be really good, and I think that's gonna be the Jaden Daniels story we have after this season.
I don't know. We'll see, but I like that matchup against Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Bucks. We know that they can get after it offensively. I feel good if Jaden Daniels is all the hype and all of what the talk of camp has been, which is they're so impressed with him. He can make these throws. He is smart with the ball. He has the running capability as well. I think that we could gear up for a very, very fun afternoon of football.
They also trade away a receiver. They try to trade away Dotson. So
Yeah,
like,
Jahan Dotson.
what are we doing? What are we doing here, Washington? Are we
True.
we building around Jaden, or are we trying to tear him down? Like, I'd be
Ah,
trading 4 receivers, not trading them away.
but I mean, you trade away your third receiver. Okay.
He was pretty good last year.
Yeah,
Did you see Madden said rejected that trade and said please be serious. Serious inquiries on the trades.
but I mean, it happens all the time, you know?
I don't know. We'll see. I think that's all we got this week. We're gonna give a recap every week this season, and I think we're dropping those on Mondays, right, or Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
Every Tuesday. We're still covering college football. We're covering WNBA, all the good stuff. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Later.